Alright, so this is a tutorial for X40 100%. The way I'm going to do it is I made a bunch of movie files in the emulator, and I'm going to play them back and then commentate them afterwards, and then after that I'm going to play all of them in a row without commentary at the end. But first thing, this is just for convenience of resetting. When you're selecting your character, Zero can't warp out when he's in the middle of his slashing animation. So you either have to wait for it, or what I do is I just hit right, and in Japanese version it's circle, in English version it's X, at the same time, and then it skips his slashing animation. And that's just for convenience. Okay, so for skipping cutscenes, in English version, I'm pretty sure that the only buttons that work are start and X. In Japanese, it's start and circle. And that applies for anything that isn't text. So like that panning down of the camera into the X Hunter base or the Maverick Hunter base, weapon cutscenes and whatever. All of that only has start and either X or circle to skip it. But for text, anything but D-pad, start, or select works. So all four of the face buttons and all four of the L and R buttons work for advancing text. Alright, so basically, basic horizontal movement in this game. In the Super Nintendo X games, every time you dash, or every time a dash ends rather, X freezes for a frame. So you want to minimize the number of dash inputs that you do. In this game, that doesn't happen. In fact, you don't even do ground dashes; you just jump. So in a task setting, it doesn't matter how frequently you do jumps, as long as you input jump on the first possible frame when you hit the ground, you're not losing any frames whatsoever. But for human execution, that's not really realistic to be able to do that with task precision on every single jump. So just as a general rule of thumb, you want to minimize the number of jumps you do, and for the most part, you just do that simply by doing full jumps. Depending on the stage and the terrain, sometimes you may want to do short hops or mid-level jumps, but if it's just like flat horizontal movement, then you want to do max height jumps. So for this part right here, in order to avoid this guy up ahead, to fit between this enemy down here and this guy who's flying, you want to land as close to this guy on the right side of him as possible. You don't want to land over here near this guy. The reason for that is because you want to jump as soon as possible. That way, like, I've already started falling. You can see where the after images are. I already started falling right about here, and my gravity's incrementing sooner, so therefore I'm at a higher downward velocity, and that helps me fit in between those two enemies. If you jump too late, then you won't be falling fast enough and you won't be able to get in the gap before it closes. For this one, dodging this guy's a bit harder. And the reason why you want to dodge enemies is because for every frame that your saber connects with an enemy, you subsequently have 5 lag frames. So you want to avoid attacking enemies with any slash besides your first 2 ground slashes. Those are the only ones that don't cause hit lag, because they're supposed to be used together in the triple slash combo. but for any slash other than those two, you want to avoid using them unless absolutely necessary. For this one, in order to dodge this grenade, I have the most success with it if I land just to the right of halfway in between these two enemies and jump as soon as possible. This is pretty precise and I don't get it all the time, so I would recommend just killing this guy. It takes 2 hits to kill these guys with the air slash, so that's 10 lag frames. So it's not that big of a deal if you just kill him, because dodging that grenade is pretty hard. And here, if you jump towards the top of this wall, you can just do 2 jumps on the ground here, 2 full height jumps, get on this wall, full wall jump off of that, and then you'll land on the right side of this wall here, and then you won't bonk your head on the ceiling, and then you can just do 2 jumps here, and that'll hopefully minimize the time that you spend walking on the ground because of less jumps. For this wall, for most structures, like walls, the ice blocks, and for whatever reason, Ugly Face Sigma, the second slash does 2 damage as opposed to the first slash is 1 damage. So for RTA, it's unless your SDC is insane, it's probably better to just do SSDC instead of SDC. But if you have like Hachimitsu tier SDC, then he probably can kill that wall faster with SDC. For these damage boosts, in this game, whenever you take damage in the air, even if you were dash speed prior to taking damage, you lose that dash speed and then fall at non-dash speed. Unlike the Super Nintendo games. So when you take these damage boosts, you want to be as close to the ground as possible, so that you minimize the amount of time that you spend at non-dash speed or on the ground. On the ground is ideal. Okay, so for this part, I want to say that, let's see. So ground dashes have a ramp up time. It looks to be, I think, 7 frames. I'm not exactly sure when I started the dash or exactly how much input delay there is on this emulator, but it's around 7 frames. So you don't want to ground dash that often, but there are some places where it's just more convenient to do it than to not do it. And this is sometimes one of those places. The reason for that is because you really want to be on the ground when you enter this door. If you do a short hop and get on the ground before hitting the door, that's obviously better. The reason for that is because you don't start the dialogue with Dragoon until Zero walks to this point. And if you hit the door in the air, you have to wait for him to fall all the way to the ground before he starts walking. So you can either dash there or do a short hop if you feel like you can do it consistently. What? Excuse me? BizHawk likes to crash sometimes. Are you kidding me? What is this madness? This was working not just a few hours ago. Okay, finally. Okay, so as soon as this thing disappears, that's when you can start to move. So for here, I do a full jump and then a short hop, and then that usually gets me high enough on this wall to avoid having to do a second wall jump. Or you can use a visual cue. It's like around here is where you want to jump from. It's pretty lenient. And you can also do a short ground dash, but you would probably have to walk. So when you do a short hop, you're giving yourself an extra landing that you have to jump in time from, and since if you don't jump immediately, you're walking, you're still gaining some distance at least. It would probably be like 8, 9, or 10 frames, something like that, that you would need to be walking for to make a dash more optimal, or less suboptimal, I should say. So I would say it's just almost always better to do short hops instead of ground dashes, unless there's something else going on, like where you want to be on the ground going into the door at the end of part 1. So for destroying this block, as soon as you jump here, like, you want to slash immediately. So that way, if you start that one sooner, then you can do the second one sooner, and then hopefully kill that block more quickly. And here, I do a short hop, and then I jump off the left wall. So that way I don't spend time, like, I don't spend as much time going to the left if I were to jump off this wall. Maybe. It completely depends with real-time execution. Obviously at TAS it would be better to do a wall jump off of this wall, but either one works. Another benefit to jumping off the left wall is that it allows you to land like on the right side of this thing, and the reason why I like that is because you'll notice that I didn't land on the very edge, and I walked for a few frames, just a couple, to help me set up this jump, because this jump, to make it to here without a wall jump, is actually pretty precise. And then these guys, so you'll notice that I killed both of them on the exact same frame. So even though I'm killing both enemies, since they both died on the same frame, the 5 lag frames stacks on top of each other. So even though I'm killing both, I'm getting only 5 lag frames instead of what would have been 10 if I had killed them separately. And here, you just want to make sure you land on the platform there. Otherwise, it's really hard to avoid this corner. So right here, if you jump there, this platform up here has already been triggered, so it's okay to just walk here, and I do that to let these guys fall low enough to the ground so I can just ground slash them without causing any hit lag. And then this slash, so the saber, the front part of the slash disappears part way into the saber slashing animation for the air slash, but the saber behind 0 still persists for a number of frames afterwards. So you kind of want to just slash and then turn around like a couple frames into the animation. Doing this isn't necessary if you can get like another slash here, but I feel, and that's what the TAS does anyway, but I feel this way with the turnaround method is just more, it's a lot easier for RTA. Are you kidding me? This emulator is awful. And it's the best PlayStation emulator. God damn it. Okay, so for this, after he finishes his roar, he'll check to see where you are to determine whether he flies off screen or whether he does this blue ball attack or hovers over to the left. You want to be to the left of about like right here, I want to say. That's where it feels like anyway. So I never really want to cross this line. It actually is probably further to the left, because sometimes he can still fly away even if you stay by the front part of his claws or to the left. So if he does the blue ball move, you want to do 2 attacks and then damage boost into him, and then do another attack as you're falling down, and then jump, do 1 more, and then go to the left, because this last one, I'm out of iframes now, so it'll hit you if you keep standing there, and then just finish the fight. This fight's pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference is you lose frames when he's hovering there because it takes longer to jump up. And then when he lands here, then you immediately do the damage boost. Okay, so the route that I do is Stingray first. This has very minor differences from doing him like 5th or whatever most people normally do him. The only major difference is how you do the Stingray fight, and how you use air dash in a couple of stages like Split Mushroom. The reason why I do this stage first is for farming Stingray RNG, because he can be the worst RNG boss of the 8 Mavericks aside from perhaps Web Spider. But yeah, there's very small differences, and so I'm just going to explain the fight, how you do it without the coins on, but then in the refights you have the coins on anyway, so I'll cover how to do the coins on Stingray fight in the refight section. So it's important, as soon as you hear the bike start to make that noise again, and it's on the ground, then you can do another dash. If you have, let's say your dash and your jump button are next to each other, then you can press both on the same frame while holding down, and that's the quickest way to do it. If they're not right next to each other, and you don't, because if you hit dash before you hit jump, then it can really screw you over because it's a different type of dash, it's not as long. Then you want to make sure you're hitting jump first. In all of these dashes I'm doing at the start of the stage, I'm doing as soon as possible, with the exception of this one right here. You wait till you hit the ground to do this one. This one, anytime you're... So I said that you can hit jump and dash on the same frame. That only applies if you're going on flat ground or an incline. If the terrain slopes downward in front of you, then you want to make sure you jump first, so that way you're going down with the terrain. Or in this instance where you want to go up so you don't hit this wall. But like here, it's okay to just hit it on the same frame. And if you land from a dash and then go off the edge, you're kind of, it thinks that you're still on the ground for some reason, and then you can dash from the air, and that's pretty useful there. Another important thing, mostly for the first stage, or for the first half, but and part 2 it applies as well, is if you ever input a dash too early and it doesn't go off, don't try to fit it in anyway slightly later. Just skip that dash completely and keep your dashes being in the exact same spots that they normally would be otherwise. Because if you start trying to improvise doing all of your dashes at different times, then you'll probably end up killing yourself. And it doesn't lose that much time to miss one dash. I don't know how much time it loses, but I never noticed a significant time loss when I did it. So after you, let's see, there's the thing where you dash in air again. After you pass under this thing, I jump and go up with that one, so I land on that. And then anytime the ground is going to go out from underneath me, and I make sure I jump first so I can go down. Here this is just a ground dash, because I don't want to overshoot this. And you can shoot those boxes to help you not run into them, which I think saves frames. It might slow you down, or loses frames if you bump into them. So this is without the Kawenzon. The Kawenzon fight will be explained in the refights. Okay, this is an audio desync on the emulator. The way I start this fight, depending on what version you're playing, whether you're playing on PC, X Collection, PlayStation, whatever, the song, you gain control in the fight at a different time during the song. And I don't know what all the audio cues are for every version, so you'll just have to memorize when during the song the fight starts and do it in that spot every time. So you just want to do a short dash at the beginning of the fight, and then as soon as you hit him, go back and jump off this wall, and if he dives like he is here, then you'll be in a good position to hit him. And if he stays over here to do the baby attack, then you'll just jump clear across the room, and then you want to slash him when you're about level with the surface of the water on the foreground. And it's always important to make sure whenever you're attacking him, after you hit him, you want to turn around, and you don't want to be too close. You'll notice that there, I was too close, so I hit him with the back part and lost more frames from hit lag. But so here I'm turning around and I'm only getting 5 frames of hit lag. So once he starts to do the baby attack, since you don't have double jump, the terrain dips downward towards the center. So in order to hit him, you need to jump from underneath him where the terrain is higher, and then you jump all the way out, hit him, turn back around to avoid more hit lag than necessary, and then jump back to being underneath him. Then after you do 2 slashes from underneath him, you ground slash that one so it doesn't cause any hit lag. Stingray goes under you, air slash him. The back slash will kill that one, and then just ground slash this, jump off the wall, and then repeat. And you can do the jump slash to kill him. You don't have to. It may or may not save frames depending on your execution, because it does 2 damage instead of the ground slash's 1 damage. Alright, so Dragoon. You want to make sure you spawn this thing before you ground dash, otherwise you'll bump into it. So for this part right here, you want to jump from the left side of this platform. Actually, no, that one doesn't matter. You want to jump from the left side of this platform, and that gets you over this without slowing down. That jump doesn't matter. Actually, no. I do pause. Where's my input? Okay, yeah, so I do let go of right for a little bit for this one. But the further left you land on this platform and jump from, the less time you have to let go of right. And I do that for this one as well. Same thing. Land as far left as possible and let go of right just for a little bit when you jump. And then this platform here, if you land on the right side of it and jump from the right side of it, you can clear this platform here. And then jump from the left side of here. You won't have to slow down for this one. These you don't have to slow down for. Okay, this fire, for whatever reason, you can stand in it when it's coming out of the ground. And then to jump over this guy, the visual cue where I jump from is like this circle in the ground here. And then you can land in this fire again. It won't hurt you as it's coming out of the ground. And then here, if you tap this like corner here, that's fine. It's better than bonking the bats. And you just need to pause a little bit to not hit that. And this, you don't have to pause to jump over this. You can just jump over this as long as you jump from far enough left without pausing. This one you do need to pause for. And then you can air slash this. You can SSDC this door the same way you do in the first door in the breakable door in the first part of the intro stage. Or you can just air slash and then triple slash. If there's no bat following you, then it doesn't really matter what you do. But if the bat is following you, I feel like doing the triple combo kind of lines it up nicely to hit him with the backslash of the second slash. Okay, for this part, you don't have to slow down at all for this. Here, you want to jump off the left side of this one, do a really short hop off that one, jump off the right side of this one, and then short hop off of this one. And then you can get through this whole section without slowing down at all. Okay, depending on where you jump from this platform, if you jump off the middle like I did here, you're going to have to do 2 ground jumps on the ground over here. If you jump off the right side, then you only need to do 1. You want to make sure you don't jump up. Actually, no. It doesn't matter. You don't want to jump on like the very top of this wall, because then you may have to wait to fall down, but jumping anywhere in the middle is fine. Okay, so for this jump, you just jump up in the air and then hit left a few frames later, and then you won't, if you hold left the whole time, you'll just go underneath, but that'll help you get up to the wall easily if you wait to hold left. So 2 jumps, slide down, depending on, let's see, for my visual cue, I jump like when, I guess, this part of the smoke is like level with the bottom of this rock. But for grabbing the ledge, so the way wall sliding works or wall jumping and wall sliding, whatever, you'll notice that like, so I'm holding jump the whole time here, and then I turn around, I'm still holding jump. It's not like Iceless where you have to let go of jump when you're in the air over here. You want to be holding jump the whole time until you grab the wall here, and that makes this a lot easier. And then once I'm like sure that I'm touching the wall, then I do the wall jump, because there's a long time after you grab onto a wall immediately before you start to slide down. So if you don't let go of jump until you're on the wall, that makes this the most lenient. So jumping over this guy, my visual cue is this circle on the ground. Jumping over this guy is just to the right of this circle. And the easiest way I find to kill these things is I just do 1 jump slash and then a ground like poke for the last one. Okay, this pattern is one of my favorites for the first fight, because if he does this at the start, you know exactly what the fight is going to be from then on out. So I always start off with a ground dash, just in case he does this move, because if you try to jump, he'll hit you. But once I see that he does the jump to the left side of the room, I follow him, and now I just start SDCing. I don't worry about anything. You can just tank the Shoryukens. Even though you're getting damage there, like you can't slash him when he's that high up anyway, so it doesn't lose time. And then he jumps over to the right side, and then I just dash into him right before he does the fire breath, and then finish him off. You can jump over to the right side of him as well if it doesn't look like you're going to be able to kill him, or dash into him and go through him with iframes. Okay. The most important thing I forgot to mention about SDC is that rhythm is everything. If you can help it, you want to make sure that your dash is happening right before the slash, but you don't want the subsequent dash to be right after the slash. And I have huge problems with this. If your slash doesn't extend far enough out, then you won't even be hitting the boss. But it helps to practice a lot and like be mindful of your rhythm, that you're not just doing a steady like eighth note rhythm between your slashes and dashes, like the way you would if you were, let's say, double mashing an X1. That your rhythm doesn't matter, you just need to do as fast as possible. But with I always find that if I'm doing my SDC slower than what I can usually manage, and just focusing more on the consistency of the length of my slashes, that the bosses die much more quickly because I'm not missing any slashes when I do that. If I try to go as fast as possible, then I usually miss slashes. Okay, so for this pattern, you just jump over him, and then whenever he's about to start the Hadokens, I always dash into him. If he does a ground one first, then you know he's going to go up on the second one, and then he's going to Shoryuken. And there's one other Hadoken pattern, and I think it's like he goes up, and then jumps to the far side of the room, which hopefully this, I think this one has it. Yeah, up. I guess you just went up, down. I don't know what all of them are off the top of my head, but as long as you just dash into his Hadokens before he's about to do them, and know that he's going to alternate with each one, then you should be fine. This is all just basic stuff. Just make sure you jump, like, the lose control here is in the center of this platform. You don't want to jump too far to the left, otherwise you'll tap this here. And you don't want to jump, you want to be jumping when you go through that so that you don't have to react. Like, say you're about to land and then you lose control, then it'll be hard to react and jump as soon as you land. But this way makes it much easier. So for this, I wait on this wall a little bit before I jump, because you get pretty close to this guy. And I don't like to risk getting eaten by one of the yellow balls. And then here, you can't do these jumps as fast as possible. You kind of have to wait in order to clear this thing. And for these, I always try to jump from like the center of the first hexagon, and then I do a full jump, bonk the ceiling, and that puts you pretty much perfectly where you lose control on the ground. And then here, if you dodge that life, it saves you a jump, so you might save some frames. Hopefully you won't need the life in a speed run. So for this, you want to do a short hop from the left side, so you land here. And for this guy, I do an air slash and then 2 ground slashes. Or, yeah, the first 2 slashes in the ground combo. And then, so that way I don't cause more hit lag than from that 1 air slash. And then that gets him moving like pretty much as fast as you need. And you want to make sure I'm pretty sure it's, you want to go up as high as possible and almost hit the ceiling at some point when you're up here. That way you despawn whichever ball is on the ground here. Because if you don't despawn it, then it'll be in front of you and then you have to wait for it. And then always just land in the middle of the first hexagon. So here you want to, again with the first one in the stage, you want to jump right before it so that you don't have to react to regaining control. Just do a short up here, wall jump there. Okay, so that's all just pretty self-explanatory movement. This part, you want to jump, do a dash jump off the, like, middle of the left wall here inside the ladder gap, and that'll put you right on the ground, and then you immediately do a ground jump from it. Jumping off the right side of the wall will put you over here, or off the right wall will put you over here, so you want to jump off the left wall to go there once you reach the ground. Okay, for this, I always want to make sure I jump like as close to this step as possible without actually rubbing into it. So that way I hit this button immediately without having to walk into it. And then immediately, oh no, I wait for this before I jump. And then ground slash jump into this button. And then 2 slashes and then jump here. If you do this jump really well, you don't have to pause midair, but I usually just pause midair anyway, just in case. So I don't hit the triangles. And for this button, you want to hit this on the left side of it. The reason why you want to hit on the left side of it is because notice how like I'm suspended midair, because I actually hit the ground here and then it killed my my downward velocity. And the reason why I do that is because it sets up this next part better. So then I just wait a few frames on the ground here and then I jump, and then that gets me pretty close to this ball. And if you can still see the ball on screen here at the bottom, then that means you did that part pretty optimally. And then, okay, so for this part, for whatever reason, this thing is RNG, whether or not this ball waits for these squares to disappear. I always just bank on getting good RNG, because it's faster if you do get good RNG with this strat. But if this ball were to stop here, I would just hit it and then lose some time. So you can either wait for it to see if you get bad RNG, or you can just go for it. It doesn't really matter, whichever you prefer. Okay, so for this button, what you want to do is you want to jump to the right of it, and then you want to wait until the left side of this ball is past the left side of this wall here, or the left side of past this wall, the right side of the wall. And then you want to jump up into this button. And what that does is that you don't hit the ground, so it doesn't kill your momentum. Or not even just your downward momentum, but it'll kill your dash speed too, because you'll have tapped the ground. And then I do a ground dash there because it's way too hard to do short hops through that narrow part. Oh yeah, all the first boss doors before you enter the boss hallway, you always want to be on the ground going into them. Same as the intro stage. Okay, which attack he does is random. However, where he does it from is completely determined by your positioning. So if you stand like just left of center here, you always know if he gives you a missile pattern, he's going to be in the air here. If he does the jumping pattern, he'll spawn right on top of you. And if he does the tail pattern where he turns his tail feathers into spikes, he'll do it from right here. And I always start to walk left when I know he's about to spawn, so I can react to any of the patterns. Okay, so this way I deal with the, this is the way I do it. It's pretty good at keeping him under iframes, but it's actually pretty hard to execute. Basically, like, you jump over this one. You want to make sure you're close to the wall so that you can interrupt your slash without causing more hit lag. But there's another strat that's either almost as good or as good that I think is easier that most other people do. Yeah, I think this strat is a lot easier. So yeah, I would just learn this strat so you don't have to deal with climbing the wall. So for the first stage in Mushroom, this stage can be kind of hectic, but if you do these certain things, it actually makes it pretty easy. So I do a full jump, and then this one I just let go of right for a few frames at the start of this jump, and that gets me over this guy really easily. If you don't do a full jump on the first one, then if you do a slightly less than full jump, then you don't need to let go of right here, but I feel that that's really hard to do consistently in real time, so I just let go of right for a little bit. Do a full jump over this guy, and then 2 ground dashes, and then once this last bat is directly overhead, then I do a full jump over this guy, air slash this dude, full jump, short hop, another full jump. You can also ground dash for a little bit there if you think you're going to overshoot the short hop, because if your short hop is too big, you'll bonk this guy. And then these teleporters, if you land far on the left side of them, you actually like see this after image, this zip that you get from here. It saves some frames if you can pull that off. So this part's pretty hard to do. You want to ground slash all 3 of them at once and then jump off. So it's better to slide along the wall here than it is to get a wall jump down here. But you can actually avoid both of them, but it's pretty precise, and you can go for it, or you can just try to get a small wall slide is the best alternative, or you can use air dash if you want to, if you have the air dash at this point, provided you already did Stingray. Okay, so for most transitions in this stage, as soon as the screen goes black, that's when you have control in the next room. With the exception of this one, if you're playing on PlayStation 1. If you're playing on like X Collection or PC version, that still applies. But this load time for this next climbing room on PlayStation 1 is a little bit longer. It's just the screen goes black and then a few frames later you gain control. So my movement is really shitty there, apparently. Okay, so for this climb is like the hardest fucking climb in Mega Man X games, in any of the ones that I play anyway. Okay, so this first part, you want to jump not too high. If you do a wall jump too high here, you won't land on the ground here, and you want to land on the ground so you can do a jump afterwards. The same way at the end of Peacock Part 1. This jump does not need to be a dash jump. This one wasn't, but it can be a dash jump if you wanted to. This one should not be a dash jump. Otherwise I'll hit this guy. And you can tell how good your movement is by, first of all, if this guy goes left, your movement was really bad at the start. If he goes right, then how close he is to you is a good indicator of how good your movement is. Him being that close is really bad, and that's because I waited a long time at the start here, and I'm not sure why that happened. So for this jump, you kind of want Zero's like hand to be by this yellow light here when you do this. If it's too high, you'll bonk this ceiling. If I do bonk that ceiling, I'll just let Zero fall to the ground, and then I'll do a Ryu Engine to kill both of these red turtle guys. And then non-dash jump, air slash that guy. None of these should be dash. So if you have air dash here, it's important to input your dash during this like gate closing sequence, because you don't have control here. Because if you don't, then you're going to air dash, and that's not good. So this wall jump here, you want this to be like a full height jump. The reason is because if you don't do a full height jump, then you don't spawn the guy up above. But if you jump as high as I did just now, he's already spawned, and now you don't have to wait as long for him to get out of the way. And then you want to jump like kind of middle on this wall, then low on this wall, high on the same wall, and then you have to wait a little bit until you're high enough before you can slash these guys. And then this part's kind of important to whether or not you have air dash. It just has to do with muscle memory. If you are used to having air dash here, you will probably end up air dashing into this wall most of the time, and if you don't, then like if you're not used to having air dash here, air dash will screw you up, and vice versa. So just pick one and get used to whichever one you choose, whichever route, because going back and forth between air dash versus not air dash in this stage is really bad for your muscle memory, and such a difficult climb that relies pretty heavily on muscle memory. So these three jumps can be really fast together, but not too fast. You don't want this one to be too low, otherwise you won't make it up to here. You want to do left wall, right wall, bonk the ceiling. There's not really much to explain about this. This movement's really difficult, but you just gotta practice it till you can get it, because there's not much explaining to do. So for this part, you want to kind of land a little bit to the left here, and then do a wall jump. You don't want to do a max height jump on the wall. Like, that would be ideal, but that makes this next part too hard. So you want to jump a little bit lower than normal on this wall, and then do a wall jump. And now you want to do so in the SNES games, you can do 7 pixel wall jumps, 0 to 7 or whatever, 0 to 6, 1 to 7, however you want to call it. But in this game, you can only wall kick if you're literally right up against the wall. So this back and forth thing is actually really annoying to do optimally, like really annoying. But you want to make sure that this jump here, you're not holding jump at all. Like, you want to just tap jump 3 times here. Because you want to land, the lower you do this part, the later you spawn this guy. And if you spawn him later, it makes getting past him easier. And if you hold jump here, wait to land here, then that'll delay this climb at the end here, and you probably won't make it past that guy. So for this mini boss, after he goes to the right here, you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you start to move right. Move just right of the health bar. Then once he comes up, 2 Ryuenjins. And then after the second time, he boosts to the right after his first attack. Then you want to do a ground dash, like straight off the edge, and just fall straight down. And that'll give you a damage boost to the right, and then do a Ryuenjin. He'll be moving to the right as you're going to the, or sorry, he'll be moving to the left as you're moving to the left, so you'll hit him for more frames. And just do another Ryuenjin. Okay, I have 3 versions for this room. Actually, I'll start with the other movies first. Actually, no, I'll start with this one. Alright. So you want to start with a short hop, and then do 2 full jumps. This slash kind of happens later in your jump. This one happens immediately at the start of your jump, and then this one at the start. You can also do a short hop and dash under them, but I think that's in a later video. And now this part is the only RNG in the stage that affects you, aside from one part in the split mushroom fight. And it's how close this guy moves to you. If he moves right next to this guy, you can get under him no problem without taking any damage. And then you just do 2 ground dashes, 2 full jumps, and then you do a short hop here. And you want to slash then jump, air slash, another short hop, slash and then jump, air slash, slash then dash, slash then jump, and then air slash before you land on these guys. Okay, I'll just go, I'll just do the next one really quick before showing the other strats. This room's really easy. Just make sure you do a ground dash here, because if you try to do a short hop, then you're probably going to overshoot it and kill yourself in the pit there. Okay. Okay, so this is the worst RNG you can get. He didn't get close to that guy, and he just started shooting, and then you ended up getting hit to the left. The reason why that changes this is because these guys will keep going until they get a certain distance from you, and then they'll stop. How this affects the later part is, so the way you naturally go through this part of this room in your head is you judge where you are by where you are relative to the enemies, obviously, because the whole thing is just steps that repeat endlessly. And so you'll notice that in the first video, So it's short hop, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, dash, and then dash. You remember that I did a jump, or 2 jumps, and then a short hop before I got to this guy. This time it's 3 full jumps, and that is because the guys, like, I got damaged, hit to the left, and then everything was like moved closer to me. So that's why that jump, which was previously this one right here, which was previously a short hop, now it turns into a full jump. And then the intermediate is that this one also has something different right here. Normally I was jumping and slashing these guys, but you can dash under them if you don't, if you keep bonking the wheel guy, because sometimes this guy's pretty easy to bonk if you try to kill him. I do a ground dash, jump, ground dash, and then here I'm getting hit to the right. So this throws it off, not as much as getting hit to the left, but it still throws it off a little bit. So this jump is now like a medium jump. It's not quite as short as if you don't take damage at all, and it's not a full jump if you get hit to the left. Okay, so this is the elevator skip method that I use. It's not really a skip, it just saves you some time at the end of the auto scroller. But this requires the air dash, so you have to. Does it require the air dash? No, but it's almost impossible without the air dash. So only do this method if you're doing a stingray before mushroom. So you walk up against this wall here, and as soon as this dies, you want to dash and then jump immediately as soon as you can. But don't wall jump here immediately. You want to wait a few frames before you wall jump. If you're too fast here with that wall jump, so you'll notice that I just delayed it just by a little bit. If you're too fast with that wall jump, you'll get knocked down and you won't end up on this. And then the reason why you do this damage boost is so that you can displace the camera here. Displacing the camera like this, all that does is it spawns these guys sooner. So I kill the flowers as soon as they spawn, and now I wait until the bottom edge of this thing is kind of right in the middle of this dark green line here. So this dark green line here, as soon as that meets up with this, then I do a Ryuenji, and then I do 2 wall jumps, and then I air dash here. If you don't air dash, then you'll end up lower on the wall, and it makes this harder. And then just do this part like normal. And I find that I can usually beat the camera with that strat, and I can't with the normal strat. The normal strat is here. Both strats involve you taking the same amount of damage, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're taking the same type of hit from one of those things. So since this one does not displace a camera as much, these things spawn much later. And you damage boost into them, and then just climb. And then yeah, I was way slower with that one. Okay, so a split mushroom fight. I'm going to show the difficult fight first. This is by far the hardest strat in the game, in my opinion. You have to be almost frame perfect with your first 6 slashes, and then after that, it's even more difficult. So, as soon as you gain control, you want to jump and slash almost immediately after. And then the way I time these slashes is I look at let's see, this star right here, the one that my cursor is over. As soon as I see that one 4 times, or as soon as it fades the 4th time, then I can attack again. Now, with the exception, if I cause more hit lag, then hit lag does not stop. Yeah, see, like, I'm in hit lag, but it's not stopping the animation of the stars. So then it throws it off. So this, now I have to wait a little bit more. You'll see that he's still in iframes, even though those stars are long gone. Now it's because of the extra 5 frames of hit lag that I caused. And so you hit him 6 times, damage yourself on those guys, and you want to do 2 ground slashes, and then jump into an air slash. Then you jump into him here as you're doing the final slash, and now it's RNG which side of the room he goes to. If he goes to the left, you just turn around and start SSDCing him, but if he goes to the right, then you need to jump and get right next to him and start SSDCing, and then air slash him as he's running away, damage boost into this guy, and then SSDC, and then jump, air slash him as he's running away. The reason why you SSDC instead of SDC is because, for whatever reason, unlike any other boss in the game, aside from the ones that get the actual full standard like 60 iframes from the first slash, you actually can't SDC Mushroom at full speed. For whatever reason, he has like some short amount of iframes from it, so SSDC, not only does it work around that rhythm like better, an optimal SSDC will hit him as quickly as he can without being immune to any of the slashes, but the second slash goes behind 0 and it extends further in front of him as well, so you can stand there SSDCing even if he goes behind you or if he's getting far out of your reach, so you can do it for a little bit longer than if you were SDCing. But this strat is extremely difficult. If you mess it up a little bit, like if you didn't get those slashes, say he was still in iframes, or if you miss a slash, you can still pull it off, it just becomes more difficult. If you get a left spawn there, then it becomes a little bit easier. This saves about 2.7 seconds over the standard strat. And if you don't kill him on that last air slash there and have to do another air slash, then it saves 1.7. So I would recommend doing it anyway, because if you don't fuck it up royally, then you'll probably save at least 1.7 seconds. And here's the standard strat. This one, since you don't SSDC him as he drops to the ground here, these slashes don't have to be nearly as perfect. And this fight's just pretty easy. Also, if you have air dash here, you really need to make sure you don't air dash into these guys. That you don't hit, see, like I did it here, and that was bad. But you want to hit your dash when you're in this damage pose, because the air dash has that ramp up time. So, for this guy, I want to say his action is not RNG and that it's completely positioning based. That's what I feel it is anyway. If you land on the left side of here and jump, then he'll do his back attack move. If you land on like the right side or screw up something and something goes different, then he'll usually spin his trident at you, and then you can't jump over him. So for this falling part, you can actually do this whole waterfall section without ever touching the ground. The task does it that way, but it's pretty insanely difficult. So I just jump on this here, bonk my head on the ceiling here. I try to go through this one, and then I land here as well. So I land on the ground twice, and that's usually, I feel, the best way to do it without risking too much time. So over here, you either need to short hop or ground dash to wait to get over this guy. Air slash this dude, ground slash this guy. And then here, how fast you kill this guy determines when this guy spawns. So I air slash him as I'm coming down, and then I ground slash this guy as he's coming up, and then jump. Okay, and this waterfall climb here, you kind of need to do this quick, otherwise you'll get hit by these things. My movement's pretty awful here. I can do this a lot faster on the PC version, where I don't have a lot of input delay, but on emulator it's pretty hard. But so yeah, it's double jump, wall jump, double jump, wall jump, double jump, and then dash jump over to this side, double jump, dash jump, and then jump to this wall, double jump up to the ground, dash jump over here, double jump, wall jump, double jump, and then you're at the top. This guy, you don't have to kill him depending on RNG, but I like to kill him anyway, because he can go down and make this part difficult if you don't. And for this jump, I jump a little bit and then hit right after. You can do this completely continuously if you're a task, but I feel that's pretty hard to do in real time. And then here you want to... The way this works out is pretty awkward. You'll notice that I'm not, like, I'm jumping, ideally you'd want to jump from like right here maybe, and then bonk the ceiling and then hit this corner at as high downward velocity as possible. So it might actually be better to just ground dash here and do that instead. And if you start moving right under this ceiling, then you can dodge this platform completely. Same thing with this, drop over this corner. Having to kill those bees makes me do this part somewhat suboptimally, but I feel that's just the easiest way to do it in real time. So for these bees, you can't damage boost them on the ground really. You might be able to, but I'm not sure. But I always go for an air damage boost because if anything it's easier. But you want to be as low as possible so you're not wasting time falling to the ground at non-dash speed. And then for this jump, you want to do this jump from about like the middle of this section here. And then you want this wall jump to be as low as possible. So that way you're spending as much time at dash speed as possible instead of non-dash speed when you're doing the double jumps. This part you can do this all with jumps, but I don't like to do that because it's pretty hard in the narrow corridor, so I just do one ground dash and then 2 short hops after. And for this door, the way this door works, since it goes down as you get into it, same thing, if you're in the air going into this door, then you'll have to fall down, like straight down as you get into this room. But if you're on the ground, which you can guarantee if you do a ground dash into it, then you fall at an angle. And that's the only boss corridor that's like that. Every other one has level ground on both sides of the door. For the first door, anyway. Okay, so spider fight. Okay, so I have a couple fights here. The way Spider's positioning works is it's largely based on your positioning, but also dependent on RNG somewhat. So what that means is when he decides to go down into a spot in the room, he checks to see where you are, and then depending on where you are, he has certain probabilities of where he can come down. If you do the fight the same way every time, most of the way he'll do it like this, where he'll come down just right of center on this one, and then he goes up, and then he'll come down somewhere over to the left over here. Usually it's right about here. Sometimes it can be all the way on the wall, and if you're really lucky, it'll be in the center of the room. In rare cases, it can be over to the right. If he doesn't come down just right of center on his first ascent, that's also pretty rare, and usually that screws me over for the quick kill, and I can't. This quick kill is so precise that doing it from a different spot in the room, I don't have any visual cues or timing cues for it, so I go for the old quick kill method, which is not nearly as consistent as this one. But basically the way it works is, so you do a double jump to a wall jump, and then slash when you get to the center of the room, air slash him twice from the ground, and then you go over to the wall. Now he can come down to one of 3 different heights here. This is the high spawn, and what that affects is how long you have to climb the wall and then air dash into his thread. You have more time the lower he is because it takes longer for him to get back up and go down anyway. So this is a high spawn, so you have the least amount of time. So I do this wall climb pretty much as fast as I can, and that usually sets it up decently. You can also do 3 wall jumps like I did there, or you can do a wall jump, air jump, wall jump, whichever way works. It doesn't really matter as long as your timing is consistent. And so this air dash, you want it to be done from as high as possible, which is kind of hard because you're above the screen and you're not exactly sure where the ceiling is. But when you air dash into his thread, what you want to do is, regardless of anything, as soon as you take damage, you immediately want to air slash after, so that you start hitting him, even if he's not above the screen yet and it's just hitting his armor or his iframes. That's still better because it delays your fall, because you don't want to just fall. So you'll know. So okay, if you hit him before he goes off screen, any subsequent hit while he is still on screen will hit iframes, but once he goes off the screen, he's no longer in iframes. So you want to air dash into him a little bit later than what I did here, and then immediately slash after. And then after you do that first slash, after the slash ends, you want to do a double jump and then air slash again as you're going to the left. Now, since he was too far right, I had to finish the quick kill on the ground. And now you'll notice that say he has this much HP, which is I think like 6. 2 slashes before he finishes this part. You want to damage boost into the thread, and then do a double jump, and then do a spin slash, and keep it inside of him the way you would with like the door for the halfway point in Spider Stage or the mini bosses, where you do the Kawenzan and you keep it all in front of you, or you can just go straight through him so the back part is hitting him. And if you do that, a lot of the times you'll be able to hit him twice. And this only works if he's 2 hits from dead. Otherwise he becomes immune to start his second phase. And that can save you a lot of time if you do it correctly. I guess that might have been the mid spawn earlier, and this is the high spawn. I want to say it was. I need to check now. Okay, yeah, this is the mid spawn. So if you get this mid spawn, you want to climb the wall kind of fast. If you get the high spawn here, you want to climb the wall very fast. I find that it's faster to climb the wall with the air jump. So if you get the high spawn, you pretty much want to do it. And then the rest of it's the same. The most important things about getting the quick kill is that you air dash as high as possible, and that the timing of when you hit the thread needs to be so that when you need to slash immediately after you take damage, and you want it to be so your first slash, the first tick of your slash hits him right before he leaves the top of the screen. And this here is the low spawn. So when you get this low spawn, you want to climb the wall slowly. And here I got bad RNG, so the only thing about phase 2 is that when he starts it here, I want this like first slash, I want to jump up high and then be going into the ground as I finish the slash and hit him with it, because that makes it so no matter which direction he goes in, I won't be hitting him with extra hits or getting hit by him. So you want to be holding slash before you enter this, so that way you start charging immediately. This one, you want to fire like right after you pass the center of this cannon. And then this one, you want to jump and fire this as soon as possible. You'll notice that one of my shots hits the missile and one hits him. This one, you want to fire as you reach the end of the air dash. This air dash, you want to make sure it's as high as possible. And then you want to do this one like kind of as the air dash ends, or a little bit before. This shot, for whatever reason, you want to do it at the start of the air dash, and that manipulates these things to kill both of these. If you do it at the end like the other one, then you'll probably hit one. Okay, so you jump into that guy. I try to land on the right side of these spikes right here. Do a full height jump and then air dash into this. You can do a double jump and then wall jump off of this wall, and that's faster if you do it optimally. I just feel like this strat is easier to not die from. Alright, this mini boss is another one of the hardest parts in the game. You can... I want to say that the jump at the start of the fight can be buffered, like when you're kind of about here in the health refill. And then everything here needs to pretty much be task level to pull this off. This slash needs to be hitting him as soon as possible from the very tip of your sword. And you need to get it so you can see the dark gray here from the first slash. And then this, you want to make sure you're as close. The closer you are to something when you're doing the turnaround Coenzons like this, the easier it is to keep it so that your saber's not missing at any point. And then you need to not only like get an extra slash in at the end, then you need to do that Ryujin immediately. And so for this part, after I kill him with the Ryujin, so I fall down, do a full jump over here, wall jump off the wall, don't hold left or right after the wall jump, and then once I fall to about like the top of this window, then I turn right and then start moving. And you'll notice that this lines it up so that I'm already, it gets me through there as soon as the wall is destroyed. For this part, I like to do a ground dash here, otherwise it's hard to jump from this spot because you want to jump from here so you can do these things with the ladder. Okay, the owl fight, I'm not sure, I think this is the god fight. Okay, yes. Pretty much everything needs to be perfect for this to happen. So you need this RNG, and you need... This slash needs to hit 5 times. You need to turn around before you do this Rakuhoha. And then you need to slash him with your ground slash. Hit him twice with the air slash. Hit him 5 times with this slash. And then you need to be right in the middle of him, pretty much, when you do this Rakuhoha. If you hit him with if you hit him 4 times with either of the ground slashes, or if you miss anything, if you don't turn around in this one, then you won't be able to get the ground slash. If you don't hit him twice with this, I would abandon this strat. And the only thing that you do differently going for this god fight, as opposed to what you would do normally, is you do this Rakuhoha when he's right in the middle of you. The reason why you do that is because it guarantees that more of the balls will hit him. But if he doesn't die here, then you're going to get hit as he comes out. So normally you would wait a little bit so he's past you once he gets hit by the Rakuhoha. It doesn't do as much damage, but you don't. You can hit him with a ground slash and then an air slash afterwards. And I believe that is in another one of the videos. Yeah, so there, you'll notice that I only hit him 4 times with the 3rd slash down here. So I let him go past me a little bit, and then I do the Rakuhoha, and then 2 of the balls miss. But then I just do a ground slash and then double hit with the air slash. So if he goes past you without starting to do his other move, then you do another triple slash. And then you want him to go past you before you do this Rakuhoha, otherwise he'll hit you, and then you do ground slash, air slash. If he spawns high, so I always predict him to spawn low. If he spawns high, then that's not as good anyway, because if he spawns low, then in the second move you notice that I hit him as he was going up, but you can't do that if he's already well, no, hold on. Does it really matter? I don't know. I just always did it this way. Obviously, if he spawns up and you guess top, you'll be saving time over him spawning up and you guessing low. I just know I had some justification for why low is better than high, but now I can't think of what it is. Oh yeah, I do. Do I? I think it has to do with there's this one pattern that he does where he like creates tornadoes on the ground and he goes on the ground on one of the sides, and it's easier to do a full damage Rakuhoha if you're already on the ground and not jumping from the top. I don't think he can do that if he's up high. I don't know. Anyway, just experiment with it and well, the God pattern involves him coming down low. So, oh yeah, that's right. So as he's flying across the screen, if you're up high and he's up high and you're on the top, you won't hit him with as many of the Rakuhoha balls because he kind of swoops underneath you and they go up and out to the sides. But if you're doing it on the ground level, he is level with you because he can't go underneath the ground like he can when he's on the top platform. So your Rakuhoha does more damage from the ground than it does on the top part. That's the justification. Okay, so this stage is based on background cycles. The background repeats itself every so often, and the train does not go into the tunnel until both the mini boss is dead and it reaches the end of whatever cycle it's on. The background cycles are not affected by hit lag. They're not affected by any other kinds of lag, which this game does not even have. So if you make some mistakes in this stage, or in this part of the stage, you won't be losing time unless you make enough mistakes to the point where you're going back a cycle. And I want to say you can make like one mistake or two if they're minor, and you'll still get the optimal cycle that humans can get. So I air slash this guy, ground slash this guy, air slash, ground slash all these dudes. You can just do a right damage boost into them out. That might be a little bit slower, but you'll probably still make the same cycle. So damage boost into this guy, have iframes to go through this. When you jump over these cannons, you need to let go of right for a little bit. I think you might be able to get away with not doing it sometimes, but if you want to never get hit consistently, then you probably should let go. Damage goes to that guy. This is all just pretty self-explanatory stuff. The main part in this part of the stage where you can lose time is from this mini boss, and that's what I feel anyway. Like if I make a mistake on this mini boss, it'll usually screw over my cycles more often than other mistakes in part 1. The closer you are, the easier it is to hit multiple spikes at once. And then I don't jump too high. And the reason why I don't jump too high is because I want to make sure I kill the bottom one at least, because after doing 3 Kuenzans, if the top guy isn't dead, then you can just finish him off with a Ryujin like easily. So 3 Kuenzans, and then if shit's not dead, then just do a Ryujin. Alright, just like part 1, the first half of this part 2 is also an auto-scroller. So these are pretty much full jumps. This one is not a full jump. And you just want to be dodging everything. Make sure you don't do a full jump here, otherwise you'll have to kill this guy, which will cause some hit lag, and your saber will also probably hit the left side of the cart, which also causes more hit lag. And then you want to jump up into this shot so that you can get a right damage boost to go through this guy. Jump a little bit to the right, go back, jump from the high ground here. That'll get you over this guy's slash. And then ideally, you want to not let go of right here when you're doing this, so you can get a right damage boost here. If you do let go of right, then you'll probably get a left damage boost, and you may even have to do a wall jump, which will lose some time. You don't have to kill this bat. I didn't kill him there, but it might. Sometimes you might hit him, so you might want to kill him anyway. It probably won't affect the cycle anyway on the background. Then you damage boost into that guy. Just jump through, go under these dudes. You want to damage boost off the right side of this guy. And then damage boost off this dude. If this bat flies to the right, I think he does that if your movement is more optimal. If it's not, then he'll fly to the left because he flies in the same direction that you're in. You want to slash as you're jumping here, otherwise your iframes will expire and he'll hit you. So you want to just let go of right for a little bit as you're jumping over this dude. This guy, you can kill him if you want, or you can just do a wall jump. It's probably faster to do it the way I did it there, doing a wall jump off the right side. And you can kill these guys. I think it's probably faster to kill them than it is to do some sort of a damage boost off his bullet and then go through them with iframes. If you screwed up the stage a lot... Oh yeah, that was another thing I forgot to mention about the route. The reason why I do Slash Beast second to last, I would do him last if it wasn't for Shipuga being useful in Frost Walrus' stage. But the reason why I do him second to last is because I have more hearts. And if I have more hearts, then that means that I'm less likely to need to pick up this health here. Because Slash Beast, depending on his RNG, can do a lot of damage to you. This is all just basic jumping and shit. Okay, I only recorded one beast fight, because the fight's as simple as they get. Just SDC him. If he does that move, I just tank it. And then you can finish him with the Raijin Geki. It does 4 damage instead of 1. Yeah. If he jumps once, if he tries to jump on top of you, you know he's going to jump twice, so you just dash under him. If he does the Sonic Slicer things, or whatever, you can't avoid it, or I mean, you probably could somehow, but it's just easier to just tank it. And it might not be that much slower either, because you would have to spend some time dodging them. Okay. So for this jump, you want to make sure you're landing on the left, or like before you hit the slope, so that way you're in dash speed for the whole slope, so you can utilize it completely. Now, you either want to jump before this snowman. You haven't spawned the fading platforms here yet, but once you spawn this first one, you spawn, like, this whole cycle starts. So an easy way to do this that I do in any percent, because the any percent has a lot more time restrictions on the platforms because you don't have the double jump. But in 100% it's not really that bad, so I just don't do it. But you can dash right into this snowman, and if you do, you haven't spawned the platforms yet, and that lets you jump through this guy, and then you can get a more optimal jump down here. You'll be falling faster at this point, and then it gets you to here faster without having, because if you hit this guy, then you're pretty much screwed. In any percent especially, but a little, to some extent in 100% as well. So you do a jump here, coins on that guy, walk a little bit if you have to, and then re-engine. You want to land on top here, and just do one jump. If you do this quickly, this guy will despawn for whatever reason. I try to jump in front of this ice thing in the background, and I do a full jump here, and then that'll help me avoid the spikes easily there. Oh yeah. I don't normally dash here along this thing because you're on the ground for so little and you're already moving fast from the slope, so I dash here though because you're about to go onto this horizontal ground here. And then here, you don't have to kill this guy, but you can kill him if you want to. It makes it a little bit easier. Again, I don't dash on this because you're on it for such a short period of time. Normally, when you are jumping over cliffs or jumping off cliffs, you want to jump as soon as possible to get as close to terminal velocity as possible as you're going over the edge. In this case, when you're dashing on a slippery downward slope, it doesn't really matter when you jump here because you're trading horizontal velocity for vertical velocity and vice versa, so it doesn't exactly matter where you jump there in RTA. Just kill this guy with coins on. These are pretty easy to dodge because you can't wall slide on them. Okay, and this what I do here is a frame perfect trick, and you can go for it if you want to, but it's really difficult. Basically, if you let go of forward the frame, you land on level snow. You'll slide along the ground at dash speed, and you can dash on top of that for double dash speed. But it's difficult, so don't go for it unless you feel like potentially losing 7 frames. So if he goes up off the screen, you want to go all the way over to the left wall, and then he'll turn you around when he lands on you. Then you want to start SDCing. And then just kill him until he... Just keep SDCing him until he either does his star move, in which he like turns into a star thing, and then he tries to start bouncing around everywhere, or if he closes his grasp again, or whatever. Just keep SDCing him. If he does, I hope that I have another movie on this. Okay, I do. If he does the move where he closes his grass and slowly hovers at you, then you want to Ryuenjin. Because he's high up and you can't hit him with SCC. Ryuenjin does more damage than STC, but it also might get you to the right side of him, and then if he chooses to close his grasp when you're on the right of him, then you'll have to wait for him to float all the way across the entire screen. So that's why if he does the let's see. Okay, so if he does the go off the screen move, he can't go all the way up against the wall. You only want to Ryuenjin him if he's all the way up against the wall, because if you Ryuenjin him when he's not, then you risk making him do the thing where he closes his grasp and then floats to the wall that he's facing, which you can make him go all the way across the room if you do that. So going off the screen is SDC, closing his grasp is Ryuenjin towards the wall. Okay, so I have two videos of Walrus Part 2 because this is one of the hardest parts in the game movement-wise. So the first video is how I do it, and then the second one shows alternate strats. My God. Okay, so I like to do a short dash here, because if you short hop, I usually end up getting too far to the right, and then I hit this wall here, and then that wastes a lot of time. Here, I kind of want to, you want to ideally land on the ground, because if you hit the wall and wall slide, then that takes longer than just landing on the ground. So, you want to be all the way up against this wall, so that if you are, your second slash will hit the second thing and you'll destroy two. And then I jump and then do another double slash and then dash, slash, jump, double slash, dash. So I do jump, dash when I'm here. And then I dash into this, block here to make sure I destroy this one with my second slash. And then I Shipuga this. This is faster than doing a triple slash. And then for this, you want to jump from just a little bit to the right half of this platform, and then bonk the ceiling, and then slash immediately after. And that makes it easier to kill this guy. Like, you just barely hit him with the back end of the saber. And then double slash dash into a Shipuga to destroy these two. 3 jumps, Kuenzan, and then double slash, and then air dash, and then 3 normal ground slashes. You don't want to SCC too fast because you want to make sure you destroy all 3 of them. That'll kill this Met up here. And then I do a neutral jump without holding left or right, and then I hit and hold air dash, still not holding left or right. That prevents me from wall sliding here. And then double slash dash, and then 3 primary ground slashes. Here you want to jump just a little bit to the right of this rock, do a full jump, bonk the ceiling. That'll get you through this part without tapping anything pretty easily. And then this part, this is all just pretty self-explanatory. This Met, you don't want to slash him too early. You want to kind of wait a little bit, because if you don't, you'll probably end up hitting that guy and causing extra lag. Now this next section, you can go through the entire rest of this stage without letting go of right, except for 2 places, if you just time your jumps correctly. Here's one part where you have to let go of right, and here's the other right here. Just do a ground slash, jump over that guy. Okay, so a lot of that is pretty hard. I've probably spent more time practicing this stage and Mushroom than the rest of the game combined, so there are some slightly slower strats that are a lot easier that are in this movie. So here I don't do any jumps, just all dashes. I'm doing the same strat here. I just slashed a little bit too early, so I hit this guy. It doesn't lose that much time, and it doesn't change anything strat-wise. Here I re-engine. Everything else here is the same. Here I do like a really short hop off the edge of the platform, which is a little bit easier than the other method. And then you really want to make sure you don't overshoot these platforms. So stopping a little bit in air is better than overshooting them. Here, if this will happen accidentally a lot. If you damage boost into this Met, then you just ignore those dudes, ignore these dudes because you have iframes, so it doesn't lose that much time. And here you can also damage on that Met. Sometimes that'll happen accidentally, and then you can just jump through these guys. You don't have to kill this guy. You don't have to worry about jumping over this guy, because it'll be in iframes. Okay, the Frost Walrus fight. This is another one of the hardest boss fights in the game. So this is the hard strat here. Okay, so doing this removes a lot of hit lag and saves about a second actually. So the first slash, you want to jump and then slash like right when you get to the left side of whatever this thing is, like right here is where I do my air slash, and then this makes it really easy to hit him with the very end of your slash without causing any unnecessary hit lag. Then I jump, I do a rear engine right near his elbow. Now I'm holding left, and now I'm just walking left, and then once Zero's face gets to the like left or the very edge of his pinky, then I turn around, and what I'm doing here is if you hit dash just before your U-engine, what that does is it gives you dash speed once you fall from the U-engine. So here you would normally not have dash speed, but now I do for some reason. And I have no after images for some reason. I never noticed that. And you have to do that twice in a row. And then just re-engine into him, damage boost immediately, damage boost around his elbow, or re-engine around his elbow, I mean. Now this double hit, the way this works is as soon as he starts walking, his iframes reset. Now the closer you are to him, the sooner you will take damage into your Ryu engine, and the more optimal that is, because the longer your Ryu engine is, the less times you're hitting him during iframes. But that's a lot harder to pull off because you have less instances. Like, you have to time it much more. The timing is way more tight. because you have to get it right around the iframe reset. But here I'm kind of a little bit far away from him, so I hit him. I'm just wasting a few frames, and then that'll still save, you know, maybe half a second or something, depending on how optimally you do it, compared to not going for the double hit. If you go all the way away from him and never take damage from him and do a full rearranging, then you're pretty much breaking even with not doing the double hit at all. So you want to find a comfortable middle ground of where you can execute the double hit consistently without losing too much time. And then this fight's the same, only without those dash speed rearranging where you get in front of him. So this just causes a lot more hit lag. Okay, so over here, I want to jump from the left side of this elevated platform here. So I'm falling quickly once I go through this guy. Do a full jump there, bonk the ceiling. That'll get you past this thing without having to touch it. This slash, you kill this guy, and you jump up to this platform, do a ground slash, then jump. You want to land as far left as possible here without tapping this. Then you do a short hop, slash, and then jump. 2 jumps here. Jumping off the left wall is faster than jumping off the right wall because you spend less time moving to the left. Kill this guy. These jumps need to be kind of slow, otherwise you won't make it up to the top here. I do a ground slash and then jump and air slash. A double jump up to here, slash both these guys, double jump up to here. Damage boost off that guy to reset my double jump. I do a double jump up to this platform, double jump to this wall, back and forth wall jumps here, and then the ladder thing here, where you wall jump up to the ground and then immediately jump. Okay, so pretty much anytime his pose changes, you get a double hit. I can't explain this triple hit because he only does one pose change there. I have no idea why that happens, but sometimes he'll get it if you're lucky. So, you know he's going to teleport in and try to swipe you. I think that he can only... I don't know if this is for sure or not, but I feel like it is. He can only... I don't know. There are like certain circumstances for him to do the energy breaker move, and when I'm doing the fight, I know when he can and can't do it, but I don't know how to I don't know what the exact parameters are. It's something that I just know from doing the fight a million times, and I don't want to say what I think they are because I'll probably be wrong. But like after his first teleport, he's usually going to teleport in and try to swipe you and then go over to the wall here. When he turns around is when his iframes reset here. Then he goes to block. Then his iframes will reset when he stops blocking. And one thing is that you like, you don't want to hit him too much while he's in iframes, but you don't want to miss out on double hits as well. Which, if you try to be too optimal about not hitting him during iframes, you can kind of miss out on double hits. Instead of just preliminarily hitting him, because like, so here. Okay, I didn't get a double hit there. But anyway, the way it works is if you hit him like right before his iframes expire, you're guaranteeing that you're going to be hitting him right as his iframes expire. You're just going to be causing some lag while you do it. But that'll allow you to get more Hyoratsuzans in for each pattern. So that's another one of those things where you want to find a middle ground of how optimally you can do it without missing out on extra Hyoratsuzans. And there are a couple of ways that you can avoid extra hit lag. You can either do a non-dash jump and then do a double jump out of your Hyoratsuzan, or you can do it right on the ground so it expires when you hit the ground, or you can let him swipe you. You can just do it right on top of him so you go into him, or you can do it from a certain distance away from him so that the rest of it misses him. So there I let him swipe me. Okay. I want to say he has to, like, I knew that this was going to be an energy breaker because of when he teleported. It's like he's going to do another move and then he decides he doesn't want to do it and then he immediately teleports, and then you know he's going to teleport to the center of the room and do an energy breaker. The way you want to deal with energy breaker is that you want to... You'll notice that I'm like dragging myself away from him as I do the Hyoratsuzan. Not only does that cause less lag, but it puts you in position to get dodged by the lightning. Yeah. So there I just walk a little bit to make sure I damage boost off the right side of those guys. Damage boost off the right side of him, double jump, walk into this, because the dashes would be so short that it wouldn't save anything because of the 7 frame ramp up time. Okay, now going into Iris's boss room, this is, to my knowledge, the only boss room in the game where the warning sign thing does not start until after you reach a certain X position, which is not on the very left side of the room. So what that means is that you want to be on the ground when you enter the boss room so that you fall to the ground more quickly, because Zero has to walk to the right, and then the warning thing would start here, but the emulator is retarded and freezes in random spots before load times. Okay, the Iris fight. This is causing hit lag. I'm pretty sure this is slowing down the fight, but it's too hard to keep her in the corner without doing that. So you just want to do Ryujin, double jump Kuwenzan, ground jump Kuwenzan. So 2 Kuwenzans per each Ryujin. And I never deviate from that pattern. If you get RNG'd and one of the things hits you and your slash doesn't hit or something, then I'll keep that pattern going. I won't like skip something in the middle of it. And that has to do with her left and right movement and whatnot. And your iframes that that make that pattern necessary. There's a part where I find it's a lot better to do a a ground dash because it's hard to do, like 4 hops at the top there, and it makes it a lot easier to jump at an optimal part here, so you get faster velocity as you're going down. The same way that neon jumps are faster in X 1 through 3, as you're climbing a static wall like this, X 2 through 3 I mean, Zero's air jumps are faster than wall jumps, so you want to use air jumps whenever possible. It's really important that you damage boost on the ground and jump as soon as possible. And then here you just want to tap the left corner here, fall down, do an air dash, and then it's really important that you don't bonk the ceiling. If you bonk that ceiling, you're dead. Here I just wait for these things to hit me. If you're facing to the left, they'll knock you to the right. If you're facing to the right, they'll knock you to the left. But if you just wait there, they'll knock you to the right all the way to the edge of the platform. And then you want to fire this shot right after you get past this dude. So if he doesn't give you the God pattern, what you want to do is you want to slide down the wall, and then you want to let go so you're in the air, and then do a Coenzon, and then hold towards the wall immediately after. And that's less hit lag than like a wall slash or something. Same damage, but less lag. And then the hand pattern. You just Rakuhaha to go through this one, damage boost into this one, and then I start slashing as soon as I'm just to the left of this like open part in his where his hand was. And then this rhythm, I don't know if you do it too fast or too slow, it doesn't work. You gotta find just the correct rhythm to deal the maximum damage, and I'm not sure why it works like that. The task does it at a way higher frequency than that, the slashes I mean, but I've never seen anyone pull that off in RTA. I've never done it myself, so I just do it the way. By the task I mean Burnka's task. I'm pretty sure the old Atma and Fractal Fusion task does it the way that RTAers do it. Okay, Dragoon refight. I'm only going to show one video because the fight is the exact same thing as the first fight. The only difference is you want to dodge Shoryukens. Everything else is the same. You still want to damage boost into him if he's doing Hadokens. So I'm just doing the fight like normal, trying not to take damage, and you can finish him with a Raijin Geki because it does 4 damage. I don't like to do that Raijin Geki thing all the time. Because if you're doing it in the middle of STC, if you dash then do it, then it'll be really slow. But if you slash and then do it, then it's fast because it's supposed to be used as a combo move. Okay, peak. Oh yeah, the spider refight is the exact same thing as the first fight. The only difference is it's easier because the ceiling above the top of the screen is higher, so you don't bonk your head as soon. So that makes it easier. For the peacock fight, I just stand just left of the center, just like normal. And the only difference is that you only use Ryujin. If he goes on top of you like that, he'll take damage from the Ryujin before you take damage from him, if you time it correctly. And then I just Ryujin to the left if he spawns in the air. And you can do it the same way that you do the 8 Maverick fight, where you walk to the left to get out of the way. It doesn't matter whichever way is easier. Okay, so the Stingray fight, it's exactly the same as doing it without Coenzon, except instead of doing the wall jumps across the room, you can just do a double jump. Also, so when you kill the babies that are right next to him like this, it hits him on the same frame that it kills the baby. So you're only doing 5 frames of hit lag. And you can also kill him with the ice spike at the end. It does 4 damage. Okay, so the mushroom refight, this is a pretty difficult fight. It's not as difficult as the SSDC version of the first fight, but this is still quite difficult. It's 5 slashes. Then as he summons the last soul body, you want to do a slash into a Raijin Geki combo. Slash slash Goenzon, then just do Goenzons every 60 frames. He comes down, then you wait for his iframes to expire. 2 slashes into a Raijin Geki, do it again. Then when he's over on the other side of the room, just do a normal Raijin Geki. Now if you, not a normal one, but a 1 slash into a combo, you don't want to hit him with the slash. Because you don't want to be that close to him. Now, after you hear him say, yeah, that's your cue of when you're able to start your Raijin Geki combo. Now, since I didn't miss any slashes in this fight, I don't have to get right next to him, and I can just let him jump over me like this. I finish him off with that. Now, if you mess up anything in the fight at all, then you have to get close to him on that last jump. And I'll show why. So there I hit him into his iframes. So I know I'm missing either 1 or 2 damage on him. So this one, now I have iframes. So he's at 5 health here. So normally where I would have just killed him with a Raijin Geki, this might be 6 health, I'm not sure. I hit him with 2 slashes and then hit him with the back end of the Raijin Geki. And the reason why you take damage, you can't do this unless you have iframes, as he's like running through you, because you hit him in front of you with the 2 slashes, and the Raijin Geki hits him while he's behind 0. And you have to fall on that backup strat if you miss anything in the fight. If you miss more than 2 damage, then you'll do the same backup strat. You'll just have to finish him off with another Raijin Geki as his double goes back into him. So it'll just be a little bit slower. Okay, so the walrus fight, if you have enough hit points, here I have plenty of hit points, then you would just do the same fight that was in the 8 Maverick fight. But what I'm going to show here, this is mainly for any percent, since you have less hearts. But it could also be useful here if you have like a really terrible rush beforehand and are missing a lot of hit points. The fastest way is to kill him is to take 3 damage boosts like the 8 Mav fight, but you can take away 1 or 2 of those damage boosts if you're short on health here, and it's a little bit slower that way, maybe 1.5 seconds or so. So here, the visual cue for this slash at the start. Well, okay, so if you were doing the normal starting with the Goenzon one, you would want to slash right here. But if you're not, then you want to go right to like where his foot was, or to the just to the left of it. Do this Ryujin, hold right. Now, if you remember, what the visual cue was before, how it was like right on the edge of his pinky when Zero's face got to there, when you knocked him over to the left side of the room. Now that you're knocking him over to the right, you want to do the dash Ryujin right as you get to the Zero's face gets to the right edge of his index finger. So right here, When Zero's face gets here, this is where you want to turn around and do the dash Ryujin. And then the rest of the fight is the same, just reversed, only here you can do a Kuenzan, and it avoids doing the hit lag of hitting that ice spike that he creates. Owl fight's exactly the same. I didn't do the beast fight either. That fight's exactly the same. The only difference is you should dodge his desperation attack, which is where his like claw starts glowing red, and then he dashes across the room twice. Okay, capsule room movement. This is just for these last couple of ones. So here you're at Stingray. You do a short hop down to Beast, and then you do 2 short hops over to Mushroom, and then you do a short dash to the right, and then jump. Wall jump off this, land here, and then just wall jump over here. And that's the only capsule room movement that isn't completely obvious. So I didn't include the other ones. Alright, so Reaper Sigma. So here, if you let him go a little bit ahead of you, you want to make sure you don't miss him. But if you'll notice that there I only got 10 frames of hit lag, because I let him get a little bit ahead of me. If I had started my Ryujin when he was like way over here, then I would have caused more hit lag. So that saves a few frames. Now here, I do this last Ryujin right as I see his scythe go downward, and this tends to be the most consistent way for me to get him in the center of the room here. The reason why you want him in the center of the room is because it takes him less time to float up and down if it's a shorter distance. Okay, so it's just SDC, Kuenzan, and then get away from him. Walk kind of to the left of where he's going to land, Rakuhoha. Get closer to him, or as close as you can be without... I just noticed, look, the saber's green on this first sprite. I never noticed that. Without bumping into him. And then you want to bump into him right before he does the eye lasers. And then the Kuenzan does 3 damage to him. So when you see that he has 3 health left, you can Kuenzan him. If it doesn't look like you're going to make it, then you can always dash behind him and you'll be safe there. Like you can dash into him and then go behind him if you think the lasers are going to hit you a second time. Okay, final Sigma. So here you lose control when you hit the center of the room, but if you do a Shipuga right beforehand, you'll keep going and go into the health, and you can get. If you're quick, you can get 1/ here at the start. As soon as this head hits like right here, that's when I want to start the Ryujin. I guess I want to say it's different, because normally I do it earlier. No, that seems about right. Basically, once this thing stops descending is when you want to do the Ryujin. It's pretty important that you do it at that time, because if you do it too early, this ball will go straight into you, and if you do it too late, a second ball will come out and hit you. The reason why you want to do it right at that time is because it misdirects this one as you're going slightly to the left during your review engine, and yeah, it doesn't hit you. Okay, so for this, the ugly phase 1 cycle, this is one of the hardest parts of the run. For this game, I actually highly recommend against practicing on emulator, because the input delay on PlayStation emulators is just so bad. Like, I can't play on emulator at all after playing on the PC version. With the exception of the ugly face cycle, this needs to be practiced on emulator. The reason is because, well, one, it takes too long to get here. Even when you do get here, it's not guaranteed that you'll get this RNG. And what makes this hard is SSDC rhythm, which it's just purely rhythm. It has nothing to do with visual cues or input lag or anything. So I would definitely highly recommend practicing getting this 1 cycle on emulator, because it's just too necessary. So right as the brain is about to finish shrinking, then you want to walk into him, and you want to SSDC. Ideally, you want to get 6 slashes, and then jump, bonk a junk, and then walk over. The further you are away, the better, and then start SSDC. You can actually get a lot more health out of him in this phase. You can get him down to like here if your SSDC is really good. If you SSDC too fast, it doesn't deal as much damage. I have no idea why. And if you SSDC too slow, then obviously it doesn't deal as much damage. But you really need to find the correct rhythm to get maximum damage on him, and just practice the shit out of it until you have that rhythm ingrained in your muscle memory, so that when you get it here in a run, you can just whip it out. And this is RNG too. Not getting junked there is... It depends on the speed of your SSDC as well as RNG, and you just kind of need to get lucky as well as have good rhythm. Everything. Single cycle ugly face is like the worst thing in this game, along with spider quick kill and general. Okay, this part is also insanely hard to do optimally without causing any extra hit lag. So when there's no red face here, the first one you need to turn it around, but the second one here you don't need to turn it around. You can just do a full 360. So this one needs to be turned around so you don't cause extra hit lag. The second one doesn't matter. But this, when the red face gets there, then you need to turn around for both of them. And the spikes are like right in front of you, and it's really hard to not hit them. It almost has to be frame perfect turnarounds. So I don't really recommend doing that strat. I mean, I don't even do it myself if I'm on a good run, because if you mess it up, you can end up getting an extra cycle, which will cost 10 seconds. Because if you end up inching a little bit too far forward and hit the spikes and he gives you the end pattern, then you're fucked. You won't be able to 2-cycle him unless if he gives you a double at the end, you won't be able to 2-cycle him, which he likes to do a lot. Okay, so here are some alternate strats for also some alternate RNG. So this is if you fuck up this part. If you Shipuga too early, then I just re-engine at the start rather than try to dodge the health. It'll cause some hit lag, but it guarantees getting that hit off. This part, if he gives you bad RNG, just SSDC until you start to get blown away, then start coinzoning SSDC when you can move again. And here, you're causing 5 frames of hit lag each time. He'll be causing a lot of hit lag killing that guy, but this is really easy to do. It guarantees that you'll single cycle his cannon's phase if you, because it's impossible to fuck that up. But the task strat is really hard. Oh yeah, so if he's sub 50% hit points going into the second ugly face, if I have to do 2, then I don't do the D-boost thing. I just bank on the fact that he's probably going to give me shitty RNG again, because if I start SSDCing immediately, it'll make it easier to kill him in that cycle, and if he sucks me in like he did there, it'll be easy to kill him in that cycle anyway. So, alright, that's all the videos. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play them all back in order without commentary.
Ready? 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 Ready?
地獄に旅立つ準備はできたかね。宇宙の塵になるがいい。
Thank you.